Hello my bookish friends, welcome or welcome back. I'm Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley and today I'm going to tell you about my September TBR. In this video, I do want to talk about the books that I want to read in September in general, although she's a mood reader, so take this with a grain of salt. But I also want to talk about my TBR for the Losers Club Read-a-thon, which is coming up September 15th through the 21st. This is a Stephen King themed read-a-thon. The buddy read is Gerald's Game by Stephen King. You don't have to read all Stephen King books for this. You can read anything that fits the prompts, and they're very general, like one-word title, female lead character, things like that. If you're interested, I'm going to link the announcement video above and below. Check that out. It's super easy to join and totally free if you're interested. So I'll tell you about all of the books that I'm going to read for that, or I plan on reading. We'll see. We'll see. And then just books in general that I want to read, as well as the Midnight Society Book Club book for September. I've been meaning to do TBRs because I wanted a specific place to tell you all about the Midnight Society Book Club pick every month to remind you that it's coming up, but I'm just so bad at sticking to TBR, so it's hard for me to put myself out there like that and put my expectations out there for my reading because it so often changes. But since we're doing a readathon this month, I thought this would be the perfect time to just pull that back in, reel it in, get a TBR going. If I don't stick to it, it's fine. Books that I want to read in general, I talked about this one in another video, have not read this yet, and I really want to get to it. That is Bridge by Lauren Bukes. This one has a multiverse involved in this, and I was thinking about doing a video, a vlog where I read books about the multiverse, but I've already read a lot of books, good books with this trope, and the ones that I'm seeing just aren't striking my fancy. So I think I'm just gonna go ahead and read this one anyway. The tagline is, "There are infinite realities. She's looking for one." 24-year-old Bridget is paralyzed by choices. All of the other lives she could have lived, the decisions she could have made. And this is something that I connect with because, I'm always thinking about, this is why I love multiple realities, because if there's something I feel like I missed out on, it comforts me to think that I am doing that in some other version of reality, in some other parallel universe. And her mom was a maverick neuroscientist, and she was fixated on this artifact called the dream worm. And the dream worm is supposed to open up portals to these other universes. Anyway, her mom passes away, her mom dies, and she looks in her freezer one day and finds this dream worm thing. And she becomes obsessed with finding a specific reality in which her mother is still alive, but then she also realizes the consequences of, filling in for these other versions of herself. And then meanwhile, there are other people who are after this dream worm who will do anything to get to it. So it's going to be hopefully thrilling. Also, it's got this sci-fi twist, so I love that. And so I definitely want to get to this month. It's been on my TBR for a little bit. It's a beautiful cover. I've never read from this author, but I'm very excited and hopeful about this one. The next book that I really want to get to this month is going to be a new release that comes out, I think it comes out on September 12th, and that is Rachel Harrison's new book, Black Sheep. This one I know is kind of culty. I have not read a Rachel Harrison book yet either, and I know she's written several that I've been interested in, but that I felt like I needed to read around Halloween time for some reason and just never did. So if I enjoy this one, I'll certainly be reading more from her. It has a 4.2 as of now on Goodreads, which is good. There's only 266 ratings, but still, it's not released yet. So we're following Vesper Wright. It says, nobody has a normal family, but Vesper Wright's is truly something else. And I'm pretty sure her family, she grew up in a cult. Vesper left home at 18 and never looked back, mostly because she was told that leaving the staunchly religious community meant she could not return. But then an envelope arrives at her doorstep. Inside is an invitation to the wedding of Vesper's beloved cousin, Rosie. It's to be hosted at the family farm. Have they made an exception to the rule? It wouldn't be the first time Vesper's been given special treatment. Why is she given special treatment? Why do I feel like this is like a sacrifice? Like they're gonna sacrifice her for Rosie's marriage. Something inside her insists that she must go to this wedding, even if it means returning to the toxic environment she escaped. Love an interesting dynamic, and we'll see how this like cultish family unravels. I may slip this into the Losers Club readathon, but as of now, that's just on my general list of things to read. Let's talk about the Midnight Society book club pick for the month of September, and that is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. This is her newest. It came out at the end of August. I'm really excited about this. Alice Feeney is one of those authors that seems to me to just get better and better and better. She's not like a one-trick pony either. Her writing style changes based on the type of book she's writing. This one in particular, like the synopsis of this doesn't sound exceptionally amazing to me, but I just have trust and faith that it's being intentionally obtuse. The tagline here is, when bad things happen to good people, sometimes good people have to do bad things. I like that. 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is killed. The two crimes are somehow linked and spark a mystery with 3 suspects, 2 murders, and 1 victim. Edith might have been tricked into a nursing home by her estranged daughter Cleo, but at 80 years young, she is planning her escape. Edith sounds like a badass already. Her only friend is a young woman called Patience, an employee at the home, who forms a real bond with Edith. But Patience is lying about almost everything. With every reason to distrust one another, the women are confronted with a mystery they may not want to solve. But if they can put all of the pieces together, they might find out what happened to the baby who disappeared, the mother who lost her, and the connections that bind them all. It looks like we're getting multiple POVs. I don't have the exact date yet, but if I do while I'm editing this, I'll put it right here for the date of the live show. But it'll be sometime at the end of September. Follow me on the Midnight Society Book Club Instagram page for the most up-to-date information on all of that. I'm going to be joined by my friend Michaela from Michaela Reads. She is a newish booktuber that I've come to really enjoy watching, and I think she and I kind of approach reviewing books in the same way. We're very meticulous about taking notes. She is very clear and staunch on her likes and dislikes, which I respect and appreciate. And then also I'm going to be joined by Haley from Haley Hughes. Haley and I also have very similar taste. I think all 3 of us have much overlapping taste. If Haley compares something to Karen Slaughter, I'm gonna read it. Like, that's just what I'm gonna read it, because she and I both love the darkness, and we both love psychology. She is a therapist. I'm sure you all know who Haley Hughes is. If you don't, go check out both of their pages, honestly. We'll meet up at the end of the month on this channel and discuss this book, so if you're interested in reading this with us, please do so. It's totally free. You just join us for the live show and we talk about it. It's really easy. Let's move on to the Losers Club Read-a-thon TBR. And so in this, I'll tell you about all of the prompts. There is an easy way to play this and a hard way to play this. I'm gonna set myself up for the hard way to play this, though I could switch over at any time, so do not hold me to that. Essentially, if you play the easy way, you can't double up prompts. If you play the hard way, then you should have a different book for each prompt. It is a week-long read-a-thon, so there is a limit to how many books I'm going to actually be able to read in that amount of time. And the way I have it set up right now, it's gonna be hard to finish all of that, but we'll see. So the first prompt is called The King, a book that you have been influenced to read by some kind of book social media, booktube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. Something that you keep hearing about and it keeps coming up and you are very intrigued by and want to read. And for me, this is The Delicate Condition. Oh gosh, I know little to nothing about this other than I keep hearing about it. And so now I just have to do it. I have to read it. I keep hearing that I'm going to enjoy this and it's getting good reviews. This is Delicate Condition, and this is by Danielle Valentine. The push meets the silent patient. Okay, interesting off the bat. Oh, this is a mother trope. That makes sense. So that's probably the push part. The silent patient. A gripping thriller that follows a woman convinced a sinister figure is going to great lengths to make sure her pregnancy never happens? while the men in her life refuse to believe a word she says. Oh no, this is gonna piss me off. Okay, this is kind of a trigger for me. But as she tries to balance her increasingly public life with a grueling IVF journey, crucial medicines are lost, appointments get swapped without her knowledge, and even when she finally manages to get pregnant, not even her husband is willing to believe that someone's playing a twisted game with her. This is reminding me of the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, when the increasingly cryptic threats drive her out of her Brooklyn brownstone and into hiding in the cold, gray ghost town that is the Hamptons in the depths of winter. Then the doctor tells her she's had a miscarriage. Oh no, lots of triggers for pregnancy things in this, it sounds like. Except Anna's convinced she's still pregnant.
What?
Could it be that her mind is playing tricks on her, or is something more sinister at play? Anna can't help but wonder what exactly she's
carrying inside of her. What?
And why no one will listen when she says something is horribly, painfully wrong. Okay. So I'll be reading that. The next prompt is the hotel, and this is the prompt to read a book in an isolated setting. For this one, I am going to try to read The Shining by Stephen King. This is one of his that I have not read yet, and that I feel like I need to. Like I've seen the movie, so I think that's why I haven't picked it up, because even though I know that it's a little bit different, or a lot different from the book from what I heard, I know how it's gonna go, you know, and so I have never actually picked it up, but I do feel like this is Stephen King canon that I need to have read. Like I need to at least have my own opinion about it. And so I am gonna try to read this when I got the audiobook. For anybody who is not familiar with this story somehow, we're following Jack Torrance, and he's got a new job at the Overlook Hotel. It's the perfect chance for a fresh start. As the off-season caretaker at the atmospheric old hotel, he'll have plenty of time to spend reconnecting with his family and working on his writing. But as the harsh winter weather sets in, the idyllic location feels ever more remote. And the only one to notice the strange and terrible forces gathering around the Overlook is Danny Torrance, a uniquely gifted 5-year-old. I'm hoping to get through this one as well as the buddy read, which is also a Stephen King book. But we will get to that. The next card, I should have mentioned that these are all cards that you're collecting cards throughout. Like that's how this is working, you're collecting the cards. But the next card is the cemetery, and this is to read something paranormal. For this one, I have an ALC from Libro FM. Thank you Libro FM. And this comes out actually on October 3rd, but since I have the ALC, I'm going to be reading A Haunting on the Hill by Elizabeth Hand. This is said to be the only approved story set in the house from The Haunting of Hill House, set in Hill House. I had some issues with The Haunting of Hill House. Shirley Jackson and I, like, even though I respect her and for everything that she did, and I feel like she was so ahead of her time, her writing style I don't always connect with. I'm interested to see this story from a different author's perspective and see if maybe I connect with Elizabeth Hand's writing better than Shirley Jackson, and I am excited to see how this story continues. We're following Holly Sherwin, and she's been a struggling playwright for years, but now after receiving a grant to develop her play Witching Night, she may finally be close to a big break. All she needs is time and space to bring her vision to life. When she stumbles across Hill House on a weekend getaway upstate, she is immediately taken in by the mansion nearly hidden outside a remote village. It's enormous, old, and ever so eerie. The perfect place to develop and rehearse her play. So despite her own hesitation, Holly's girlfriend, Nisa, agrees to join Holly in renting the house for a month, and soon a troupe of actors, each with ghosts of their own, arrive. Yet as they settle in, the house's peculiarities are made known. Strange creatures stalk the grounds, disturbing sounds echo throughout the halls, and time itself seems to shift. This one sounds really good. I'm weird about haunting stories, and about The Haunting of Hill House in particular, I would love to get to know some backstory from Hill House from this book. What is the haunting? Like, why is this place haunted? Because I don't feel like The Haunting on Hill House really explained that. It was just kind of this powerful thing that no one understood, except it was more focused on the characters and how it drove them, as opposed to the reasoning for this haunting happening in the first place. So I would really love to get some insight into that, at least in Elizabeth Hand's mind. This, no doubt, is paranormal, So we're going for it. The next card to collect is called The Game, and the prompt for this is to either watch the Buddy Watch or read the Buddy Read. And they're both the same story. It's Gerald's Game by Stephen King. We're going to be reading the book together as well as watching the adaptation together on Netflix. You can achieve this card by doing just one or the other. I, of course, will be doing both because I'm co-hosting this, and why not? It's fun. So, what is Gerald's Game? This one I had never even looked up the synopsis to or heard much about before this. So this will be new for me. I have zero expectations going into this story. So in the story, we're following this couple, Jesse and Gerald, and they are playing a game, a husband and wife game, Gerald's Game. But this time, Jesse didn't want to play. So there are some kind of unconsensual sexual things going on where she is being handcuffed, I think, to the bed. I think I said tied up in the announcement video, but this, I think, because there are handcuffs on the cover of this, I'm pretty sure she's handcuffed to the bed. Anyway, Gerald makes some kind of move she's not comfortable with. She gives him a good solid kick, and he has a coronary and dies on the spot. Meanwhile, she's in this like abandoned, deserted cabin in the middle of nowhere by herself, handcuffed to the bed. I think it's going to be psychological in her head, and she's also going to have to survive in this isolated setting, so this could also, if you're playing on easy mode, be used for another one of these prompts, the isolated setting prompt. The next card to collect is The Queen, and this prompt is to read a book with a female lead. And for this one, I've picked out a couple, and I'm not sure what I'm going to read yet. The first one is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. This is an anthology, I believe, collection of short stories. I'm not really sure. I think this was her debut novel. I've read In the Dream House by her, and I thought it was so beautiful, and so I can't wait to read this one. It says she blithely demolishes the arbitrary borders between psychological realism and science fiction. Why have I not read this? That sounds right up my alley. Comedy and horror, fantasy, and fabulism. While her work has earned her comparisons to Karen Russell and Kelly Link, don't know who either of those people are, but maybe I should look them up, she has a voice that is all her own. In this electric and provocative debut, Machado bends genre to shape startling narratives that map the realities of women's lives and the violence visited upon their bodies. I feel like I'm gonna love this one. In one of the stories, a wife refuses her husband's entreaties to remove the green ribbon from around her neck, and I'm pretty sure I remember a story like this from something in my elementary school library. I don't even... Is it Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Is it from one of those? I don't know, it's ringing a bell though. A woman recounts her sexual encounters as a plague slowly consumes humanity. That sounds interesting. A sales clerk in a mall makes a horrifying discovery within the seams of the store's prom dresses. What could that possibly be? One woman's surgery-induced weight loss results in an unwanted house guest. Ooh, this is giving me Eric LaRocca. Things have gotten worse since we last spoke. If it's anything like that, that's gonna be good. And in the bravura novella, Especially Heinous, Machado reimagines every episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit, a show we naively assumed had shown it all. What? Generating a phantasmagoric police procedural full of doppelgangers, ghosts, and girls with bells for eyes. Earthly and otherworldly, antic and sexy, queer and caustic, comic and deadly serious. Oh man. This sounds really intense, but really, really good. Yeah, I don't really know anything else about it. Sounds amazing. Certainly, every one of those stories has a female lead, so I think that fits the bill. The other one that I'm thinking about reading for this prompt is called My Husband, and I just recently heard of this one. This is by Maud Ventura, and I think this is translated, I believe, from French. I've been reading more and more translated books lately, and I'm finding that it's really hard to get a story across in another language. So we'll see how that goes. But it says, in this suspenseful and darkly funny debut novel, a sophisticated French woman, there we go, spends her life obsessing over her perfect husband. but can their marriage survive her passionate love? At 40 years old, she has an enviable life, a successful career, stunning looks, a beautiful house in the suburbs, 2 healthy children, and most importantly, an ideal husband. After 15 years together, she is still besotted with him, but she's never quite sure that her passion is reciprocated. After all, would a truly infatuated man ever let go of his wife's hand when they're sitting on the couch together? Okay, she's cray-cray. This is gonna be fun. Determined to keep their relationship perfect, she meticulously prepares for every encounter they have, always taking care to make her actions seem effortless. She watches him attentively, charting every mistake and punishing him accordingly to help him improve, and she tests him, setting up traps to make sure that he still loves her as much as he did when they first met, until one day she realizes she may have gone too far. Okay. Oh, this is going to be really hard to choose between those two for this prompt because they both sound really good. It may come down to like which one. I may have to like start one. I don't know. For a read-a-thon, it's easier. It's nice to have one anthology because you can keep picking it up and like breaking up other books with that. But this one sounds really good too. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. There's one more prompt. I also have several options for this one. Y'all. The last card to collect is called The Clown, and this is a book with a one-word title. I could use Bridge for this one. I could do the second book in Jennifer Hillier's duology Creep, which is called Freak, which I have not read yet. I really want to get to that one. Let's talk about what Creep is about so I don't spoil anything in Freak. And it's been probably close to a year since I've read that one now, so this will be a good refresher for me, actually. Okay, I gave this 3.5 out of 5. Dr. Sheila Tao, she's a professor of psychology, loved that about this. An expert in human behavior. And when she began an affair with sexy, charming graduate student Ethan Wolfe, she knew she was playing with fire, consumed by lust when they were together, riddled with guilt when they weren't. But she's getting married to this, like, Texan dude. Oh my god, the audiobook was so bad with the Texan, well, it was a very fake Texan accent. I think he's like in the oil fields and he's super country. And so she decides to break it off with Ethan, and then that has consequences. There's also a female student who is found stabbed to death. Before she knows it, Sheila is caught up in a terrifying cat and mouse game with the lover she couldn't resist. That's Creep. I enjoyed it. I do want to finish that duology. So Freak is the second book in that series, as mentioned, and that is definitely one that is on my radar for this prompt. Another one that I could potentially read for this is a novella. It would be smart for me to set myself up with a novella because it's a read-a-thon. And there's one that I'm interested in called Finna. I know Kayla read this from Books and Lala, and I've seen a couple other people that have mentioned this, and it does sound like something I would really enjoy. I also have the audiobook, and it's very short. Okay, it says Littenverse #1 by Nino Cipri, oh, this one has the multiverse as well. That's why I was looking into it. Oh, that's right. It says it's a rambunctious, touching story that blends all of the horrors of the multiverse with everyday awfulness of low-wage work. It explores queer relationships and queer feelings, capitalism and accountability, labor and love, all with a bouncing sense of humor and commitment to the strange. Okay. When an elderly customer at a Swedish big box furniture store, but not that one, so not IKEA, slips through a portal into another dimension, it's up to 2 minimum wage employees to track her across the multiverse and protect their company's bottom line. Wow. Multi-dimensional swashbuckling would be hard enough, but those 2 unfortunate souls broke up a week ago. To find the missing granny, Ava and Jules will brave carnivorous furniture, swarms of identical furniture spokespeople, and a deep resentment simmering between them. Can friendship blossom from the ashes of their relationship? In infinite dimensions, all things are possible. This sounds really interesting. It sounds like a lot to pack into a novella. Let's see how many pages this is. 92 pages. Wow. I would be shocked if there was excellent world building as well as character development in those few pages. But if they do accomplish that, then this could be really, really good. And then I have one more option for this prompt, and that is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This, I believe, is translated from Japanese, I want to say. And let's see, we're following Natsuki, and she isn't like the other girls. She has a wand and a transformation mirror. She might be a witch or an alien from another planet. Together with her husband, Yu, Natsuki spends her summers in the wild mountains of Nagano, dreaming of other worlds. When a terrible sequence of events threatens to part the two children forever, they make a promise: survive no matter what. Now, Natsuki is grown. She lives a quiet life with her asexual husband. I love the asexual rep. Surviving as best she can by pretending to be normal. But the demands of Natsuki's family are increasing. Her friends wonder why she's still not pregnant. And dark shadows from Natsuki's childhood are pursuing her. Fleeing the suburbs for the mountains of her childhood, Natsuki prepares herself for a reunion with Yu. Will he still remember their promise? And will he help her keep it? What's the promise? Survive no matter what. Why would he not help her survive? What's happening that she can't survive? Okay. Is he gonna get her pregnant? Oh my gosh, this is gonna be, is that where this is going? This might be weird. Woo, okay. I've heard this one is really dark, so I would not be surprised if that is the direction that this goes in. Interesting. Okay. So we have just general reads, we have Midnight Society Book Club reads, and we also have the Losers Club Read-a-thon reads. I'll also be hosting that with my friend Beth from Beth's All Book, as well as Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. Please, if you're interested in joining, watch the announcement video. I didn't go over all of the details, but it has all of the details there. There's also a Discord with all of the details. Thank you all for hanging out with me today. Don't forget that life is short. So read Riley, cheers, and goodbye!